The galactic community had lived in peace for centuries, with alliances between species forming the backbone of interstellar relations. Trade, technology, and diplomacy had flourished, and war was nothing but a distant memory. But that peace was shattered when a new and terrifying threat emerged: the Vortex. No one had seen them coming, and no one knew where they came from, but their intentions were clear: conquest. The Vortex were relentless and brutal. Entire planets were decimated, civilizations reduced to rubble, and their fleets left destruction in their wake. Fear spread across the galaxy as world after world fell to their overwhelming power. The Galactic Council, made up of leaders from the most powerful species in the galaxy, convened in a state of desperation. The council chambers, once a place of calm and calculated discussion, were now filled with frantic voices and panicked leaders. They had tried everything: negotiations, bribes, and even military defense, but nothing seemed to stop the Vortex. Everyone was scared. Everyone, except the humans. The humans, a relatively new species to the galactic stage, had always been viewed as odd. They were far smaller in number than most species, their technology was average, and their home planet, Earth, was deemed too harsh to support any significant advantage in warfare. But while others cowered in fear, humanity stepped forward. Admiral James Cade, a veteran of Earth's military, stood tall in the council chamber. His eyes were cold and focused, scanning the room filled with trembling leaders of other species. He was calm, his voice steady. "We have a plan," Cade said, addressing the room. "But it's going to require all of you to trust us." The other council members exchanged nervous glances. The humans had never been at the center of galactic affairs. Could they really be the ones to turn the tide? "We don't have time for doubts," Cade continued, sensing their hesitation. "The Vortex are already here. Either we act now, or we perish." The Vortex fleet had arrived at the edge of the galaxy's most densely populated sectors. Panic had spread across the systems, and evacuations were being carried out in a frenzy. People were abandoning their homes, and entire cities were left deserted as the Vortex approached. But humanity had not evacuated. Instead, they had prepared. While the rest of the galaxy had been building massive fleets and relying on diplomacy, the humans had been developing something different. They had always been underestimated. Their technological achievements seen as mere reflections of other species' advancements, their population too small to pose any real threat. But what the galaxy didn't know was that humanity had a secret weapon: resolve. In the darkest corners of their space, humans had been experimenting with cutting-edge military technologies, utilizing the harsh environment of Earth to train soldiers in ways no other species could imagine. The humans had adapted to adversity in ways that made them uniquely suited to facing the impossible. The rest of the galaxy didn't understand it. How could they? The humans had lived their entire existence on a planet that was trying to kill them. From natural disasters to predators, and even each other, Earth was unforgiving, and in that humans had learned one simple truth: you fight or you die. The Vortex had no idea what they were walking into. As the Vortex fleet descended on the first human colony, expecting another easy victory, they were met with fierce resistance. The humans had not abandoned their homes. They had fortified them. Orbital defense platforms, invisible to enemy scanners, activated and fired devastating barrages into the Vortex ships. Stealth fighters emerged from asteroid fields, picking off the Vortex squadrons with surgical precision. And then came the ground battle. The Vortex had prided themselves on being the galaxy's most fearsome warriors. Their soldiers were heavily armored, genetically enhanced, and trained in the art of war from birth. They had never faced true defeat. But what they didn't know was that humanity didn't fight like other species. Human soldiers weren't born warriors. They were made through hardship, discipline, and willpower. When the Vortex landed on the human colony of Nexus Prime, they expected to find a broken and terrified population. Instead, they found streets lined with human soldiers, standing defiant, weapons raised. There was no fear in their eyes. In the front line stood Sergeant Elena Ruiz, a battle-hardened veteran of Earth's military. She had fought in countless skirmishes on Earth and its colonies, and now she was leading her squad against the most dangerous enemy the galaxy had ever known. The Vorthix charged, confident in their overwhelming strength, but the humans didn't flinch. "Hold the line," Elena shouted, her voice cutting through the chaos. The humans stood their ground, firing precise shots into the advancing enemy. They moved with discipline and precision, targeting weak points in the Vorthix armor. The battle was fierce, but the humans had an advantage the Vorthix couldn't comprehend: fearlessness. Where other species would have fled or surrendered, the humans pressed on, even as the odds stacked against them. As the Vorthix soldiers fell, one by one, a realization dawned on them. The humans were not like any other enemy they had faced. They were relentless, resourceful, and above all, they were unafraid. As the battle raged on, the Vorthix forces began to falter. Their arrogance had blinded them to the true threat humanity posed. They had thought their superior numbers and technology would crush the humans easily. They were wrong. In space, the human fleet, led by Admiral Cade, launched a daring counterattack. Using advanced tactics and maneuverability, the humans outflanked the Vorthix fleet, dealing devastating blows to their command ships. On the ground, Sergeant Elena Ruiz and her squad continued to push back the Vorthix invaders. The human forces were smaller in number, but their tenacity and clever use of terrain turned the tide of battle in their favor. The Vorthix, once seen as unstoppable, were now in full retreat. The Galactic Council watched in disbelief as reports came in. The humans, the species everyone had once dismissed, had done the impossible. They had not only survived the Vorthix onslaught, but had driven them back. Admiral Cade addressed the council once again, this time with a different tone. "Now you understand," he said. "Humans don't run. We don't hide. When the universe throws its worst at us, we fight back, and we win." The other species, still shaken by the events, could only nod in agreement. The humans had proven themselves as more than just a minor player in galactic affairs. They had become the galaxy's last, best hope. As the Vorthix fled, the galaxy breathed a collective sigh of relief. They had been saved, not by their mightiest warriors or their greatest fleets, but by the one species that had refused to back down in the face of fear. Everyone was weak and scared. Everyone, except the humans.